Raptors let one slip away into the Utah Jazz. 126-119 is your final. Welcome to Raptors Tonight, live from Real Sports. I'm Randy Urban, joined by Alvin Williams, Eric Smith, and Sherman Hamilton. So, fellas, let's get right into it. I had all these great questions prepared for this nice win. And then things kind of fell off the rails. Sherman, I'll start with you. What happened?
Well, I think it started in the third quarter.
Oh, okay.
I do. I mean, even though the Raptors had, a 13, 14-point lead going into the fourth, Utah shot 59% in that third quarter. And I think that's where the lathering up started for that fourth quarter performance. And unfortunately for the Raptors, the amount of pressure that Utah put on them offensively to keep up, without being able to get stops, and your offense isn't kicking the way it was earlier in the game with your 71 points in the first half, now those shots become aimed. It becomes a bit tighter to make those shots, and possessions get tougher offensively. And your defense isn't responding the way you need it to. So I just thought they dug themselves that hole in that third quarter, allowing Utah to get that offensive confidence. And then the fourth quarter, you just saw Utah play free and easy basketball. There was no resistance. Jordan Clarkson shot a three from the corner and turned around to the bench while it was in the air. That's the kind of basketball Utah was playing. And I think when you're playing a team that is playing that loose and free and you're trying to make shots, it's an uphill battle.
Al, I thought they were doing such a great job of keeping Utah at bay. You know, they never really let them get comfortable, mostly because they were scoring as well and at will. But what went wrong defensively for the Raptors in that fourth that you saw?
I don't know. I really don't. When you're looking at the game, and you can think of a few things. I know in the second half, the Raptors start turning the ball over a little bit more. Well, a lot more. I want to say they had 4 in the first half, and they had 4 in the third quarter alone, right? So you allow a team to get out running. And when you have talented players that can go create their shots and things like that, if you're not going to be focused, and that's not going to be your identity from a defensive standpoint, which is hard. You don't see too many teams that defense is their focus or defense is their mainstay. But offensively in the NBA, if you saw the Raptors, right? I think 71 points you said in the first half. You can get going at any time. Anyone can get going. We talk about Scotty Barnes hitting threes and everyone hitting shots and getting out in transition. That can happen on the other side. That's why I've always preached you have to implement defense. You have to have different schemes. You have to have different coverages. And that way, when you put it out there as a coach, the players are focused enough, they're disciplined enough where they can execute it and they can pivot need be, opposed to always being on your heels once a team catches on fire.
Yeah, Eric, what did you see?
I thought the tone might have been set by Utah early in that second half. To Sherm's point, maybe about the third quarter, I have to go back and double check. I want to say it was like 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes in to the third quarter. It was still, I believe, a double digit. Yeah, I'm going to break it down tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll call you.
FaceTime me.
I'll call you. I know you'll be awake.
For sure.
Toronto did not get off to a good start in that third quarter. Darko called an early timeout. And I think that kind of set the tone for how things were going in that third quarter, specifically in the second half. I don't know what happened at halftime because things rolling for Toronto, 70+ in the first half. But in those first couple of minutes, he saw something from his team that he didn't like. And it just didn't seem like there was that attention to detail the first couple of minutes. He tried to address it. I don't know that it got fixed based on the way things steamrolled in that third, and then it just continued into the fourth.
But to what Sherm said, if you're going to rely on your offense and the way the offense was clicking, everyone feels good. Offense is something that makes everyone feels good. But as soon as it goes the other way,
What do you have?
things start getting tighter. Like those shots, layups, free throws, you start hesitating. As soon as you start hesitating and losing a little bit of confidence and momentum, your offense will go just like this.
Yeah.
That's why it's always important to keep it defensive.
And it doesn't really matter in those situations if the looks are good, because if you're tight, right? Like you can't.
I mean, and that's what happens, because offense never goes like this.
Yeah.
Offense is like this,
Yeah.
right? It's just like this. Now, if you can start saying, are we getting good shots? The quality of the shots. Are we executing? Because there's one play where I looked at Dennis Schroeder. He set a back screen for Scotty for a lob. Just little things. The angle that he took to screen allowed his man to still slide and recover. Opposed to the next time he set a screen and Pascal got that lob, it's little things like that. So if you're looking at a coach and you're saying, are we executing the right way, regardless of the result? Are we executing? Because if you execute the right way, the results will start being more and more consistent.
And when I was watching it late in the game, and Utah had made that run, and they, tied the game, went up a few points. Jordan Clarkson's a professional scorer, so in those moments when the game kind of shrinks and it's not a lot of ball movement, they have a guy that can get buckets.
Yeah, he can, and you can see in Jordan Clarkson's game that sometimes he can hurt his team as well. But there's no question, the guy can put points on the board, and he can do it in bunches. And I think we know this, we've seen this. When guys who are quote-unquote scorers get it going, it's hard to turn them off. Mm-hmm. They find that rhythm, and they start to really, really find their groove. You got a tough time turning them off. And I thought he got going. Markkanen was great in this game. And what are you going to do at that point now? Offensively, you're coming down, and even if you're getting good looks, when you're pulling that string and you're trying to aim it and put it in the basket instead of shooting it, and then you miss it, here comes Utah right down your throat, and they're making play after play after play. And when they started to string buckets together, you could just see the weight get bigger for the Raptors because they couldn't get it going offensively. Defensively, they couldn't get stops. Then you saw them searching to try and figure out how to shut this thing off.
And Sherman, am I wrong to say, too, you guys have been there, I haven't. When you're in this position like that, it seemed like, at least in the fourth quarter, everybody was trying to do it themselves. I'm not saying it was all individual play, but it's like they're rolling, they're going, I'll get us back.
First, let's
I'll
clean
make that
something
shot.
up. He's been there. I don't know what you're talking
Hey,
about.
I saw you in an Olympic Games.
Let's clear this up.
You might have been a high level. You've still been there.
I played in youth games. It was an Olympic format.
Participation.
But I never been where he was playing against the world.
Power rankings of who's been there.
But he's
2,
4. But you're right.
3, 4.
It's not just a bad thing, though, right? It's kind of like natural. Like, all right, I think I can make this shot. Let me make a play.
That's because you want to help.
Yeah, you want to help. It's not necessarily being selfish, and that's when it comes to, you know what? Let me know my role. Let me know 1, 2, third option, like that. So that comes from the beginning, and the Raptors are still trying to find that out. It feels like they're still finding out. You put Pascal, all right, Pascal, but Scotty or OG. Then you start finding out. You see what Utah did, right? Gave it to this one guy, and you go ahead.
Right.
And make them react, and make them adjust, and now we adjust. The Raptors just got to find out at certain moments who is going to be that guy they're going to put the ball in their hand. What's the two-man game?
And Al, I'll tell you, too, the recognition from a guy like Lauri Markkanen, who was hot early, was doing it all in the exactly, because he was giving it up to Jordan Clarkson. He recognized who's hot, boom, give it to you, give it to you.
In these moments, you find out how much trust there is in what you're building, how much you believe in the process that's happening, right? And like Alvin said, you're not doing it to be selfish. You want to help the situation.
Yeah.
But if you go away from the system and what's being expected in terms of the options and plays, then you got to look at how much you believe that what the plan is and the game plan is going into a game is successfully trying to help you get to where you want to get to.
You're just going back to what you said. You almost have to fight your natural instinct to score and help, right? Like you've been in the situations where you're like, okay, I want to be the guy that shuts off the water for them. I'm going to take this 3. It might be a little contested, it might be not in the flow of the offense, but it's hard to fight that natural because all these guys come in having been great scorers. That guy.
Yeah, you've been that guy. You've had the ball in your hand. Everybody wants to hit the shot to break a run. Everybody wants to hit the shot that forces the other team to call a timeout.
Yeah.
That's like, through the course of a game, that's you.
Yeah.
Like, I did that. And it's just a natural, a natural piece in people that they want to do it. But once again, the better teams, that comes with discipline. That comes with knowing your role. That comes with sacrificing and understanding what's best for the team. Everybody want to win, but what? Everybody want to win their way, right? And you can't have that.
So defensively then, guys, you gave up 3 30-point outings last night or in Philadelphia, and then 2 of the guys did it tonight. Like, what is it? A lack of focus, energy? When I look at defense, it's effort, right? But I don't know if I didn't see effort today. I can't figure it out.
You know what the best answer is, Randy? Yes. A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think. Like, no disrespect to Utah. And I'm not taking anything away.
So it's about to be disrespectful.
You call me out of my little preface?
Yeah, I've been around you for a long time.
You can't tell me.
Utah can take it.
You can't tell me 1 through 8, 1 through 9, 1 through 10, however you want to break it down tonight, that the talent overall on Utah is substantially better than the talent on Toronto's roster. So is it effort? Is it lack of attention to detail? Is it focus? Is it yes? It's a little bit of everything. Slice up that blame pie. It might not just be one thing. We can't sit here and necessarily question effort. I don't know if guys weren't actually trying. I'm going to guess they were. I'm going to guess they were giving it their all and they wanted to win this damn game. But there's at least a little bit of something at every little moment of the game, or at least little junctions of the game, that add up to the snowball that starts happening. Because I still believe that overall there's talent, certainly to compete against this Utah Jazz team, certainly to not blow this 13-point lead, but yet something almost every night, it's like you can point to at least one thing that say, boom, that's where it got away. And it's almost like it's something different, if not every game, every few games, something else. Like, hey, what were we talking about 3 games ago? Starts. They've won the first quarter, the last 2 games, but they've lost both games.
Right.
So what is it now? Is it the bench? Is it the attention to detail? Like, what is it?
I don't know. If I'm Darko, I'm pulling out my hair at this point. You see, this is why coaches go great.
Not enough left.
Quick. You know, basketball is tough, and it's got to be frustrating for him to watch this.
If you're Darko, right?
Yeah.
And you're a coach, and the game is down at the end. Scotty had a great game. Play before. Baseline out of bounds.
One hand.
Shooter comes off.
Yep.
Throws it across his body. This is an opportunity to get a quick shot, a quick hitter, right? Comes across your body. It takes a little longer to get the ball instead of this. Bang. Right? You're on the left side, bang.
Yep.
Next play, same thing. One hand, try to throw over the top, steal. It's not much a coach can do with that, right? Other than say, get on the bench, or we got suicides, as your dad said.
Yeah.
Suicides, push-ups, and you something going old school, right?
Yeah.
But you got pro athletes, right, that they do things that you're not telling them to do that.
Yeah.
They're just doing these things.
Nobody's told them not to do that.
Nobody, right? So that's not even like, come on, no one-hand pass. We all know that, right? We know no one-hand pass, but you're so good, you get away with those things. But those are the things that, when you talk about wins and losses, those are small things. Now, was the game over? Who knows?
Yeah.
But those are habits.
Yeah.
If you're going to win, you have to develop winning habits.
Same thing that happened last night in Philadelphia in, I believe, late third quarter. I want to say the game was 7-8 points. Joel Embiid, who's playing on like 1 foot, got hurt early in the game, beats everybody down the floor for a layup and one, and completes the 3-point play. You said 2 minutes ago, effort. That was an effort play. You had 3-4 guys from the Raptors not getting back, and the biggest dude on the floor, who's playing on a bum ankle, beats everybody down the floor and makes the play. That's not the coach, that's the player.
All right, great stuff so far, guys. We're going to pause it there and welcome in our fan of the night. Please bring in Jad Rahim. Jad, where are you at, man? Come on in.
Come on now.
Give a little hand for Jad. All right, Jad, come on in. Have a little seat here.
Thank you.
You know these guys?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Al, Eric, have a seat.
Long-time fan, thank you.
Long-time fan,
Absolutely.
long-time watcher, listener. All right, you
Sir.
got a question or a comment for the guys?
I do. So watching the game today, my son is a big Scotty Barnes fan.
Just bring this up a little closer.
Thank you.
There you go.
And I was thinking and wondering, actually, do we think that Scotty Barnes has what it takes to bring to the Raptors organization what Vince Carter did for the Raptors as well?
Wow.
I think we should ask
Ask the
somebody
man
who
that played
played
Wait,
with
this-
Get out your way, Alvin.
Let's go have a drink.
No, we're not going to do that.
I loved what you said yesterday
My
when,
kid is watching,
when
so
Vince took away. When you said Vince took away a lot of your assists because he left the gym.
I just wanted to put myself in the story. That's all. I had nothing to do with it. I just threw myself in there. But you know what? The difference is, as talented as Vince Carter was, he had a bunch of vets around him.
Right.
And they held him accountable for everything he did. He and Tracy McGrady. But Vince, we're talking about Vince, he had a lot of vets around him, and Vince got a chance to learn. Although he was the go-to guy, it was never a time he could come into practice or go into a game without feeling some pressure and being held accountable to his play, to his team and his actions. Scotty doesn't have that same veteran core. He doesn't have that. Talent-wise, his ability, he does more than Vince does, right? As a whole game. Like Vince was phenomenal, but Scotty defensively, rebounding, assisting, now scoring, he has a more complete game than Vince actually. Then Vince could do those things, but Vince was our guy that scored for us.
Right.
So he has the ability to be the guy on the team, a franchise player, but he doesn't have the luxury that Vince had to learn how to do it. And then Vince took that and carried and played for 20 years because he learned how to be a vet, he learned how to be a star, he learned how to be a role player. Vince went through the whole progression of an athlete. So he has the ability, but the setup is just not the same as Vince had.
Right. Okay. And so that's what we think it is. Just add a few pieces around Scotty Barnes,
and he's young, so veteran pieces, and you won't. We were probably the last dinosaurs, no pun intended, but we were the last of the last that had all of those vets: Charles Oakley, Muggsy Bogues, D. Brown, Doug Christie, Antonio Davis, Kevin Willis, Del Curry. Then Mark Jackson came. We had Rod Blake. We had a lot of players that were. And Vince and I were talking. He said, Doug Christie, Magic Johnson. D. Brown, Larry Bird. Charles Oakley, Michael Jordan. Antonio Davis, Reggie Miller. Like Kevin Willis, Dominique. So all that information came through their conversation to us. So we didn't just play. We didn't play with these guys. We played with guys that they played with. So we got a ton amount of information. So Vince was very fortunate, all of us. But Vince had that Scotty, he's not going to get what Vince got.
I would say too with Scotty, the personnel around him hasn't changed a ton necessarily, but his role or what they want him to be or expect him to be has arguably been different all 3 years. And he's only in 28 games into year 3, right? What he was in the rookie year versus the way he was used last year and the role he had versus the role and the expectations that are on him this year. Every single year, I think it's been different. So I think it's we're still waiting to find out.
Right.
Yeah, and I also think that, to their points, Vince was the guy. We knew that. Everybody on the team knew that, the fans knew that, the NBA knew that. Scotty is trying to separate himself as the guy, but he's still one of the guys, so to speak. And I think, if you're put into that position of being the guy, then different things are expected, and then you're able to do different things as well. And he has those moments where we're looking at him and saying, this guy can get it done. But as a young player, without the veteran leadership, and then the role is changing at times in terms of in-game who you're supposed to be, it becomes difficult to make yourself a clear-cut that guy with consistency.
And Vince had the luxury of not having to come to practice and lead. Sit back, the vets led. Scotty has to lead every day.
Right.
Like if he's going to be that guy with this unit, and not this unit, but even moving forward, he has to be bad or good game. He has to come the next day, communicate with the coach, go to his appearances, make sure the team is on his back. It's a lot of pressure for a young player.
Okay. Hey, not to take too much time, but was there any point of the game today where everyone was waiting on Scotty to take over to get us back up because we saw that lead just disappear slowly, and we're all like, let's go, someone's got to step up.
Well, he kind of did it when it got to 10, right? He was like, he was pushing the ball, got a layup, push the ball again, got a layup.
Right.
But, at that point, it's an uphill battle, I think.
But the style of play, it's not, the Raptors don't play, give the ball and go, like you saw Jordan Clarkson. And back in the day, give the ball to AI, give it to Jordan, give it to Kobe, give it to Shaq, give it to Vince, give it to Trey. It's not like, now it's pass move, and then you try to get players in a different position. So it's hard for a player necessarily to take over a game just from a scoring aspect. Correct. I was saying to Matt, I was like, man, this game, I thought it was curtains, but it was just drapes. So at the end of the day, you got to take your hat off to Utah and say Utah weathered the storm. Absolutely. They fought, because Utah on the road, you could have easily said, you know what, let's pack it in, man, and let's call it a day. They didn't do that. And the Raptors just couldn't respond from a standpoint defensively, getting those stops. And it's hard when you have a player that's rolling. The NBA is one of those leagues where if a player get rolling, no matter who it is, it's hard to stop them. Yeah.
All right, Jad, you ready for spin and shoot for a prize?
Absolutely.
Let's do it, man.
Thank you.
For sure.
You got to spin first,
All
shoot
right.
second to make the prize.
Got it.
All right? Let me bring that. Come on over here. get to the wheel.
Come on now.
Give it a good spin. A good one? Yeah, give it a good one. What do we got?
Bills won.
We got socks up there, a ball, jersey. Oh, almost a jersey. 2 entrees from Real Sports. That's not bad, but you got to take this basketball.
Oh, now I have to score.
And then you have to score. Get behind the line here. You can step back if you want.
This is good.
Yeah.
There we go. Can I bounce it? Or?
You can bounce it. You can do whatever you got to do to make that. Oh, all right. You know what? You get a second try. We're gonna give you a second try here. Oh, there we go. Oh, there you go.
What's his shoulders?
Yeah. Just relax a little bit. Make this one. There you go. Hey.
Thank you.
Come on over here. Here you go.
Thank you.
2 free entrees. Show this and give a little shout out to anybody who want at home.
Absolutely. Just want to say hi to everyone at home. Kids, love you all.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He's bringing home 2
Back in
entrees.
Ottawa. Just want to wish happy holidays to everyone.
All right.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Thank
Let's
you.
hear it for Jad.
All right.
Good job,
Thank
buddy.
you, man.
Let me get you out of here.
Pleasure.
I got you right here. I got you, buddy.
Thank you.
Sorry. Getting
Oh,
pretty
you
good
face
at that.
Bob Barker?
I'm getting pretty good at
like
that.
Bob Barker never
Yeah, we gotta
gave
get you one of
nobody
them skinny microphones.
Yeah.
Second chance.
Second chance. You get a second chance on
Oh,
this show.
man. I love my man, but he ain't supposed to get no second
It's
chance.
Christmas, man. You got to give him a second chance.
Well,
You get 2 free
call
throws, don't you?
Call me the Grinch.
We want winners on this show. That's it. Just winners. All right, let's go. Let's
Had
do a
something,
little.
but I'm going to leave it alone.
Let's do a little overtime. You guys ready for? Oh, before we get to overtime, I wanted to ask you because we were talking about Vince Carter, and
That's me?
yeah. When I was watching Vince, I was in university, and I would call my dad, who's sitting back there, and I'd say, "I'm seeing things I've never seen on a basketball court before." Did you feel like that? And what was the craziest thing that you've seen him do?
So, in the games, everything that you saw for the first time that I saw.
Yeah.
He wasn't doing all of those things in practice. It's like you dummy through it, you go through it, shoot a jump shot. He wasn't taking off, dunking, doing that. Like, first of all, we had Charles Oakley and Antonio Davis and Kevin Willis and those guys. But he wasn't doing it. So anytime you saw it on TV, it was like we were like, oh my God, But the craziest thing I saw Vince do, it was 2 things. We used to play a game Roughhouse. You guys might call it 21 or something like that.
Roughhouse?
Roughhouse, so when you shoot, it's one on everybody. Like plays, no out of
I
bounds,
think we call it
no
American
fouls.
21 or something. Yeah.
But we called it Roughhouse.
Yeah.
21. Some people call it 21. Vince played and he dominated a bunch of grown men, one on all of it. Like I was just like, wow. But the one thing Vince did in practice, we had, I think, Kevin O'Neal was the coach. And Vince, it was about the time where things weren't going well, like with the organization, Vince.
That was the KO year.
And we're playing in practice, scrimmaging, and Vince gets a steal. And they stop it, blow the whistle, but Vince gets pissed. And he throws the ball from half court. And he throws it. You ever see Tracy McGrady throw it off the backboard and catch and dunk it? Vince threw it from half court, winged it, and it hit the shot clock and bounced up, and Vince followed it and caught it and just dunked it. And I'm like, practice, we're all like, what the hell? I thought the shot clock was gonna break, but he just threw it like he was pissed. And he just threw it and then hit the shot clock and he ran and he just caught it. And that was the time that Vince was like, I'm not dunking and I'm not, my leg hurt. But it was that moment, I was like, this dude's a freak, man.
Crazy.
So
It really is half man, half amazing.
half man, half amazing. Vince, yeah.
That's great stuff. I could talk to you for a long time about that.
Well, no, you can't talk to me for that long.
All right, next game of the
Time is up.
Wednesday against Washington Wizards. Tip off at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Get it
Raptors
going.
Tonight.
I'm
We'll
here
live
for
on
all of
YouTube shortly after the game.
Hello,
From all of us here at Raptors Tonight, have a safe and happy holiday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.